Donald J. Trump, Ilhan Omar, and the state of Minnesota, they're now locked in a collision that Democrats never thought would actually happen, because this time it wasn't a tweet, it wasn't a speech, it wasn't a warning. President Donald J. Trump, sitting in the Oval Office on January 1st, 2026, Happy New Year, everyone, froze $185 million in Minnesota child care funding after fraud allegations exploded into the national spotlight. And the moment that the money stopped flowing, everything changed. That is when Ilhan Omar stopped posturing and started spiraling. That is when Tim Walz ran out of talking points. And this is when the same mob that mocked patriots for months suddenly turned furious, because the exposure that they said would never matter just triggered real federal consequences, folks. This is not random. This did not come out of nowhere. It came after Nick Shirley and many others dragged what the media refused to touch right out into the open. In fact, it came after federal agencies quietly reviewed what Minnesota officials waved away. And on top of that, it came because patriots just like you folks didn't back down when they were shouted down. Drop a 47 down in the comments down below if you stood by your own faith on this one from the very beginning. They laughed at the warnings, they dismissed the evidence, and they called it nothing. Then Trump froze the money. Well, tonight, we're going to break down why that single decision is the real reason why Ilhan Omar is collapsing, why Democrats are melting down today, and why, once again, the patriots were right. Drop an American flag down in the comments down below for all the patriots out here. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Stick with me, folks, because today's story only gets worse from here. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. So let's go ahead and get something straight right out the gate, okay? This was not a rumor. It was not spin or even political theater. On January 1st, 2026, Donald J. Trump, as the president of the United States, authorized the freeze of roughly $185 million in federal child care funding that was flowing into Minnesota. Now, that money didn't get delayed. It didn't get paused for review. It was straight up cut off. And that distinction matters, because when federal funds are frozen at that level, it means that the paperwork was already crossed multiple desks. It means agencies have already flagged risk. It means that continuing to pay would expose the federal government itself for liability. Now, this wasn't Trump sending a message. This was Trump ending the exposure. Now, for months, Minnesota officials insisted that there was nothing to see here, folks. We all heard it, right? Now, for months, critics were mocked, but when the Treasury line item hit zero, the talking points instantly collapsed. In fact, this was the moment when theory became consequence. No press conference could have reversed this thing. No tweet could soften it. This wasn't just a warning shot. This was a cutoff. And so here's what the meltdown crowd doesn't want to talk about. The fraud allegations that are tied to Minnesota's child care and health care programs, they're not new. In fact, they didn't surface overnight. They didn't suddenly appear because of politics. They had been quietly brewing and circulating through state compliance channels, federal oversight offices, and investigative referrals for quite some time. But what changed wasn't the existence of the allegations. What changed was visibility. So once the questions about daycare facilities and the billing irregularities and the clustering of payments reached federal desks, the risk calculus shifted. Now, at that point, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI, they're not debating optics. They're assessing the exposure. And once agencies see patterns that suggest systemic abuse, silence becomes liability. And this is the breaking point here. Continuing to fund programs under active scrutiny is not compassion. It is negligence. I don't care how you slice it. And so when that line is crossed, the only responsible move is to basically just go ahead and stop the money first and then sort out the accountability second. Once fraud hits federal desks, inaction is no longer an option. And so now this is where the system truly lost control, because the exposure didn't come from a congressional hearing or a Sunday show. It came from Nick Shirley, a citizen journalist doing what legacy media refused to do. Go look. Now, let me be very precise here, okay? The Trump administration did not freeze Minnesota funds because of a viral video. No, that is the spin. What the viral video did was force attention onto issues that had already been flagged quietly. It exposed the timeline. It removed the ability to stall. And so once millions of Americans saw on the ground footage, once questions went mainstream, once millions of viewers just like you shared videos just like this one about this very incident, federal agencies no longer had the luxury of moving slowly. Silence became visible, delay became suspicious, and that's the moment that Washington's hand was forced, not by outrage, but by exposure. The machine is built to manage the narratives, not to withstand uncontrolled visibility. And so when exposure comes from outside the press class, it short circuits the entire containment strategy, and they never expected sunlight to come from there. And basically everything that we're talking about tonight ultimately comes down to who pays when systems fail. People love to say, oh, it's only $300, but if you're on a fixed income, $300 is not nothing. Am I wrong? Well, a viewer reached out to me recently. She said she went in for a routine lab test. Her Medicare plan covered the appointment, but not the lab itself. The bill came back just over $300. Now, that single charge wiped out her entire savings cushion for the month. There was no fraud. There was no scam, just coverage gaps that she didn't even know were there. This is why I partnered with Chapter. Chapter looks for those hidden costs that are buried inside Medicare plans, the uncovered labs, the surprise copays, the quiet fees that add up fast. They help people make sure that their coverage actually works before the bill shows up. Now, most people, they're already dialing the phone number right there at the bottom of your screen right here, 909-563-8279, or they're clicking the link down below in the description of this video, askchapter.org/Ron, to have their Medicare reviewed. Now, it's totally free. It's very straightforward. They never sell you anything, and it can save you from the kind of surprise that wrecks a month, let me tell you. All right, so let's get back to it, because once the money flows, once the money stops flowing into these daycare facilities, everything else starts collapsing. And that brings us directly to why Ilhan Omar took this so personally. This freeze didn't just hit a budget line, it struck at Ilhan Omar's political identity. Now, for years, her brand has relied on narrative control, moral framing, rhetoric dominance, and insulation through outrage. Now, that strategy, it works, okay, it works, right? Up until money stops moving, though. Because when federal funding freezes, it's no longer about speeches or statements, it's about accountability. It's about scrutiny, and it's about records that don't respond to press conferences. And so, Ilhan Omar didn't spiral because of criticism. She spiraled because the flow of funds tied to her political ecosystem suddenly halted. Constituencies notice. Activist networks panic, and donors, well, they start asking questions that no one can answer on cable news without worrying about being arrested. And this wasn't symbolic resistance, folks. This was a structural hit. When money stops, messaging collapses, and when the narrative collapses, exposure follows. This is why this landed differently. This is why this cut deeper. And so at the center of this collapse sits Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, and this is where the story becomes impossible to dodge. Because once Donald J. Trump froze the funds, the spotlight didn't stay in Washington. It snapped back to the state level. Now, for years, Minnesota's leadership insisted that their oversight systems were solid. They downplayed warnings. They brushed off the critics. They leaned on bureaucracy to slow walk the accountability. Well, federal enforcement doesn't operate on vibes or press releases. It operates on audits, documentation, and risk exposure. Now, when the freeze hit, Walz, he ran out the room, blaming Washington didn't work because the money only stopped after state controls failed. Claiming ignorance doesn't work because the questions had been raised long before the cutoff, and dismissing concerns as political didn't work because federal agencies don't freeze funds for optics. So this is the part no one wants to say out loud. State level negligence triggered federal intervention. Simple as that. And once that happens, the spin cycle ends. Federal audits don't care about your talking points. Now, you need to notice something here strange. This was very strange. I want you to notice something strange about the aftermath, okay? The loudest outrage wasn't aimed at fixing the system. It wasn't aimed at cleaning up programs. It wasn't even aimed at clarifying what went wrong. Anybody else notice that? It was aimed at patriots, the messengers, the investigators, the citizens who refused to shut up. Now that right there, folks, that tells you everything. When institutions panic, they don't defend themselves by explaining facts. They attack the people who expose them. Because outrage is easier than answers, and distraction is safer than accountability. Now, if this were false, they would have proved it, right? Now, if this were exaggerated, they would have corrected it, right? But instead, they melt down. So what does that tell you? That's not moral outrage, that's institutional fear. Because once a paper trail exists, once federal agencies are involved, once systems are frozen, the anger isn't about politics anymore. It's about traceability. And they're not mad because it's wrong. They're mad because it's documented. And once something is traceable, it's unstoppable. Now, what you're seeing right here today, this is the defining difference in Donald J. Trump's second term governance, I should say. In 2026, this White House doesn't choreograph endless hearings while money keeps flowing out. It acts first, and then it lets the facts catch up. The Minnesota freeze wasn't punitive theater. This was risk containment. Now, under this approach, when federal agencies flag exposure, the priority is simple. Stop the bleeding, and this means cutting funds before the press cycle, before the political bargaining, and before narratives harden. This is results first enforcement. The debate comes later after the safeguards are in place. This is why the reaction was so visceral. The system is used to process and delay and dilute. A clean cutoff disrupts that rhythm. It removes leverage. It forces accountability onto paper, not panels. This White House doesn't negotiate with negligence. It neutralizes it. And that is precisely why a single funding freeze triggered panic far beyond Minnesota. And so here's the part that rarely gets said out loud. Minnesota isn't the fear. The precedent is, guys. When President Donald J. Trump froze Minnesota's child care funds, it signaled a brand new rule. Federal dollars now move with verification, not vibes. Now that terrifies the broader progressive network because it's scalable. If funds can be halted here after oversight failures, well, they can be pretty much halted anywhere where similar risks exist. Grants, reimbursements, pilot programs, none are immune once compliance becomes the gate. And once the gate is enforced, the entire incentive structure changes. Messaging can't cover gaps. Outrage can't unlock funds. Only documentation can. This is why the backlash was immediate and loud. It wasn't about Minnesota parents. It was about national exposure. And if it happened here, I can tell you right now, it can happen anywhere. And everyone knows it now. And this is why the noise is deafening, not because of cruelty, but because of consequences. And so I want you to watch the pattern carefully. When the first warnings surfaced, legacy media, they basically largely stayed quiet. No deep dives, no sustained coverage, just scattered mentions framed as political noise. That silence wasn't accidental. It was strategic. As long as the story stayed contained, it could be managed. But once Donald J. Trump froze the funds, silence became impossible. That is when the scramble started. Suddenly there was context. Suddenly there were qualifiers and timelines, and soft language was meant to blur because, it was meant to blur cause and effect, not to inform, but to reframe. The same outlets that ignored the buildup rushed to control the landing. Here's the telltale sign. If the story were insignificant, it wouldn't need explaining. If it were baseless, it wouldn't need hedging. The pivot revealed the truth. The media didn't miss the story. They delayed it because delays buy time and time buys cover. But a federal freeze collapses that buffer instantly. Once the money stops, narratives don't lead anymore. Documents do. And so this is where it all comes full circle. Now, for months, patriots were mocked for asking questions. They were told nothing was wrong. They were accused of motives instead of being answered with facts. The warnings were dismissed as noise. Then Donald J. Trump validated them, not with rhetoric, but with action. You see, when Minnesota's funding was frozen, it wasn't a viral moment. It was a ledger entry. That is why it mattered, because validation didn't come from social media applause or TikTok virality or YouTube or cable news arguments. It came from a federal decision that carried serious weight. And the people who said, wait and see, they finally saw. The people who said, trust the process, they watched the process intervene. Patriots didn't win an argument. They exposed a risk that could no longer be ignored. And once the Treasury line item hit zero, denial became impossible. They laughed at the warnings until the money stopped. And so let's be very clear about what people are calling a collapse, okay? This is not about emotions. It's not about tone. It's not about a bad news cycle. Ilhan Omar's spiral is about exposure, and exposure is the one thing that narrative politics cannot survive. That is why the collapse took place. Optics can be managed, optics can be reframed, optics can be drowned out with outrage and counter accusations and whatnot, but exposure is a little different. It hits different because exposure lives on paper. It lives in audits, records, funding trails, and federal reviews that don't respond to press statements. Once Donald J. Trump froze the Minnesota funds, the insulation vanished. Every unanswered question became a liability. Every past dismissal became a timestamp. And every rhetorical shield stopped working because federal scrutiny doesn't care who shouts the loudest. This right here, my friends, this is why the reaction looked panicked. Not because of the critics, but because the safe exits closed. When oversight turns real, there's no pivot left. You can't posture your way out of an audit, and once exposure begins, it doesn't reverse. Now, here's the part that everyone needs to understand. A federal funding freeze is never the end of a story, it's only the beginning. Historically, freezes like this, they're followed by expanded reviews and compliance audits, clawback evaluations, and wider probes that move well beyond the original program. So this is why the tension hasn't cooled, it escalated. When Donald J. Trump's administration cuts funds, it signals that federal agencies are now protecting themselves first. That means reviewing not just what was frozen, but what else might actually carry similar risk. And once that process starts, it doesn't stay contained to one department or one state. Minnesota was the trigger, I'll admit that. The precedent, though, is completely 100% national across all 50 states. And that's where the panic feels bigger than a single freeze, because everyone watching knows what comes next. This wasn't a headline moment. This was a structural shift, an opening move. They mocked the Patriots, they dismissed the warnings, then the money stopped, and now they're going back.